So you may have noticed that yesterday, the 12th Vlogmas day, doesn't exist, because yesterday was a writing day. On writing days, I try and basically sit down and write all day. And yesterday I barely wrote 6,000 words, which is not my best, but it's okay. It wasn't bad. You know, I made progression in the story that I was writing. For filming Vlogmas, it's not that great, because there's nothing interesting about filming me sitting at my laptop tapping away. But I did ask in one of the earlier videos whether you would be interested in hearing about my writing. So like on a writing day, what I do is I try and get up at a reasonable time, go downstairs, eat breakfast, sit at my laptop, go through the mail, and then pick a fic to work on. I can't really talk about my writing without talking about fanfiction, because fanfiction is what got me started into writing. Like, I was always interested in reading a lot, but fanfic is what got me, you know, plotting properly. I haven't written any original fic since I finished uni in the summer. I think I mentioned the novel that I was planning to write, and in my second year, when, you know, I decided that this was the idea I was going to work on for my third year, I wanted to write the entire novel. What I ended up doing was rehauling the novel idea while I was in Sweden, rehauling it even more when I was back in Bath and meant to be writing the bloody thing, and I ended up submitting, like, just about the word count that we were meant to submit, because you obviously can't submit the entire novel. My extract was shit. I mean, the characters were flat, the dialogue was bad, it was just sloppy, badly written. I didn't have any enthusiasm for it by that point, because I didn't have the time to do all the research that I wanted, because I'd ended up rehauling it so much. I wanted it to be more pinned down to a specific location, I needed to flesh out the characters more, their experiences, their backgrounds. It was just kind of a bummer, because this was meant to be, you know, the biggest thing that I was meant to be working on in my third year. It just ended up being super discouraging and a chore more than a pleasure. What ended up inspiring me more was a tiny piece that I wrote for one of my other modules, which was a non-binary child magical messiah in an urban fantasy Paris. I think one of the most common questions asked of writers is, where do you get your ideas from? Which is kind of tricky, seeing as I write so much fanfiction. It's kind of an even-ish split between original ideas that I've had and ideas that are either based on something I've seen, read, whatever, or just a straight up AU, or based on a fanfic trope like soulmates or body swap. And with fanfiction, dialogue almost always comes first, because I already know the characters and I know that what their relationships are to each other. With original ideas, it's often more an image, frequently inspired by music, if not by a dream. Like, the whole story is already there, sort of, in the ether, if you will. Like, it's already been made into a movie and I've just seen a snapshot of it, and I've just got to, you know, find the rest of it and then write it down. My most original ideas always come from dreams. Pretty much always, I think. The Magical Messiah one came from a dream of a world where it was sort of divided between a magical upper class and a magical underclass, and this child has been found with this amazing intuitive gift for magic. The idea of these people, this underclass, was to raise this child, keep them away from the upper class, and raise this child as a sort of, as one of them, sympathetic to their cause, so that this kid would end up growing up and fighting for them rather than fighting for the upper class. Place, it turns out, has a really big influence on me, which I didn't realise until I'd, you know, at least lived in a few different places. So while I was in Stockholm, I wrote a lot of Les Mis fic that was like more explicitly set in Paris, because Stockholm looks more Parisian than Bath. And I lived in a tiny flat with my roommate Katya, so I wrote about characters in tiny flats in huge apartment blocks. And when I moved back to Bath, when I lived with my aunt and uncle, I lived up in their attic. That helped inspire a story where one of the characters lived in an attic and a lot of the interactions happened there. Dialogue is something I'm really good at. I've been told repeatedly that dialogue is one of the best things that I do. And this is because when I'm doing like a mundane task like walking or cleaning, I'll speak the dialogue, either in my head if I'm in public, or obviously, or like mutter it to myself under my breath or mouth it. And sometimes I'll sort of act it out as I go, especially if I'm on my own, which really helps figure out what the rhythm of a conversation would be if you're speaking both parts of it, multiple parts of it, whatever. Going through a physical reaction to an imaginary scenario really works well for me, and it helps to get the description of said reaction accurate, or, you know, as accurate as I can make it. Look how beautiful our tree is in the dark. Oh, it's gorgeous. I love it. You know what I absolutely love about the end of the year is those countdown shows. We just watched the end of like the 100 greatest toys of all time, and now we're watching the 50 greatest TV magic shows. And I love those countdown shows. I adore them. Like, I don't watch TV most of the time, but I could spend fucking hours watching those countdown shows. They amuse me so much. It's ridiculous. Do you like those countdown shows? Because I I love them. I love them so much. I look forward to them, I genuinely do. Aiden's arrived. He arrived ages ago. I like always forget to film Aiden because he's so camera shy and I know that he doesn't like it, which is adorable. But we're going to bed now, and this time I will be better. Time will not fly while I'm with Aiden. I will try and shut up. I will try and make sure to actually, you know, do the whole daily vlog thing slightly better. Hopefully. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow if all goes well.